It's time for In Bed with Jed.
Welcome to In Bed with Jed. I'm Jed Ryan, and thank you all for joining us today. If this is your first time, welcome. We always love virgins. And if this is not your first time, welcome back. So, as you know, I always have my guests wear whatever they would choose to wear to bed. And I didn't realize how many of you out there wear absolutely nothing, go to bed au natural, which seems totally appropriate for our our guest today and what we're going to be talking about. So many of you have heard out there, many of you theater aficionados have heard about Camp Morningwood. And this show opened on June 4th at the New York City hotspot Asylum. And many of the shows so far have been completely sold out. And good news, the show has been extended and it is now running until July 1st with many new shows added. And rightfully so. And as anyone who has seen the show and who has gone back again, yes, many have, you'll know why. Now, this show is creating a revolution of its own because it beat Broadway to the stage by several months. So we can definitely say New York City theater is back and it is here to stay. Yeah. So joining me today in bed, we have a very special guest. We have Jay Falzone, and Jay wrote the book and the lyrics for Camp Morningwood. Jay, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having
me. You are welcome. Thank you for being here on, wow, who says Tuesdays can't be exciting, right? I am so excited. You know, I don't know if it shows or not. That's why we have the camera tilted at a certain angle, but so, yes. Because we're a class act here. So
of course.
Yes, Camp Morningwood is a very naked musical, and true to its form, it is very musical and yes, very naked. So Jay is responsible for as I said, the book and the lyrics. He's responsible for all those deliciously dirty double entendres, all those rapid fire snappy comebacks, all that purely unbridled bitchery. And I'm so excited to talk to him. Yes, and I love every single note, every single lyric, every single word. So thank you for that, Jay. And I have to ask you, first off, how did the cast and the crew, how have you responded to the success? Because it's like really exploded, you know, sold out shows and new shows added and a lot of positive reviews. What was that like for you?
It was great. And we're thrilled that it's hitting with the audience and the audience is really enjoying it, having a good time, very into the message. And I mean, in a larger theatrical universe way, it also is just so amazing to be in a room with live theater again and see people that are dying to be out and together and experiencing this in real life and not just, you know, streaming and digital and whatnot.
Yeah. And I know that I've seen you at least 2 shows, and every time we go there, the reaction is great. And late at night, there are the after parties. People stay for that. So everybody has fun, not just during the show, but afterwards too. And you'll agree, the energy level is just like through the roof. People just love being back in the theater for a live show.
They really do. They really do.
Yeah. Now, I know that back in 2020, there was a planned revival of Camp Morningwood. and that you guys were in the works after the first successful run. You guys were planning on coming back in 2020, and then certain little thing happened that I can't bring myself to say. Yeah.
Yeah, that put a damper on things.
Yes, Corona, you could pick a finger, but
Yes.
what was it like when the show had to be postponed? Because I know that invitations were sent out for the press and everything was all set to go. What was that like for you and for the rest of the creative team and the cast and everybody?
I mean, it was, it was disheartening. It was very disappointing, like it was for so many people and so many different projects, including the creative team on this show. Had their hands in other things, and so when everything shut down, I mean, it was, everybody had their own reaction. But I mean, it was, everybody was pretty devastated that things were closing. A lot of people were hopeful. I was not. Everybody, they say everybody hit that lockdown wall or pandemic wall or whatever they like to call it, a few months in. I hit it in the first week. So whereas everybody was like, oh, it'll just be for a few weeks or a month or 2 months or whatnot, we'll be back up by the summer. I was the one running around with a bell being like, no, this is a pandemic. This is going to be ongoing for a long, long time. And at the time, everyone thought I was just being negative. But then they hit the wall. And by then I was over the wall and being creative again.
That's the spirit. Just keep fighting, keep chugging along. Yeah, it's like I was the same way. I really was. I was kind of hoping that okay, things will get better, and then you find yourself going through the drive-through at Wendy's and calling that dining out. So
It was for a while.
yeah, and deciding what to wear to the Zoom dance party. It was pretty rotten. So let's backtrack a little bit to the show's original run in 2019, right?
Yep.
Yes. And I'm sure that a lot of people who are not in the business think that, okay, let's put on a show and you just, make it happen and it happens within a couple of weeks. But I know that this was a real long process and everything. What was it like from the time that the idea for Camp Morningwood was first conceived all the way up till it actually made its debut? What was that process like for you as a writer?
I mean, it was actually pretty quick in terms of new pieces. I was kind of writing under a gun, and that gun was New York City Pride, because originally the show, Mark Erdley, who's the conceiver of the show and the director, his original idea was very much in the vein of Rocky Horror meets a nudist camp. So it was very much supposed to be a troubled marriage, straight marriage, that they were going off to unplug and refocus on each other. They blow a tire and they happen upon a nudist camp, and through antics and hilarity ensues, they find out things about themselves and their marriage, and it heals their marriage. But as we were exploring that idea, and we had already started plotting that, the more people we talked to in marketing or just around creatively, they really encouraged us to make it an all-male, all-gay show. And so we switched gears very quickly. But like, the original concept of the straight couple was December of 2018. So you're talking 6 months before Pride. And then we switched over to the gay version in January of 2019. And because it became a gay story, a gay narrative, they really wanted to get it up for Pride that year. And so it became writing under a gun for sure. So it was actually pretty quick, not weeks, because that's not possible, but it was, like I was churning out drafts and rewrites and whatnot very, very, very quickly for several months.
Wow. 6 months. And that may seem like a long time for some of you out there, but let's face it now, it takes 6 months for us to just plan our outfit for Pride sometimes. So it's not a very long time. So now, were there any changes as a writer? Or did you make any changes from the original script? I know that you insert some very timely references in there. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, some of them like are some of the references are timely. You know, Britney Spears plays a large role in this play, and of course she's timeless. She's still crazy, and but you managed to even insert like a Liz Cheney joke in there. Liz Cheney, if you're watching, you know it's all good nature. Don't worry. But were there any changes from the original? So,
Yes. So from the original, so the back in 2019 was a cast of 10. And this time around, we wanted to reduce the cast, and it's a cast of 7. So a lot of the story, the main plot line, is different. Because it used to be a gay couple, Randy and Gay, back in 2019, and now it's just Randy, and he's got a story of, a single guy versus a couple trying to like solidify the relationship. Because there's references that have stayed, there's references that have gone. Britney Spears is, like you said, timeless, so she's stuck around. There were, there's other things that have made it in this time around, because the reference that was in 2019 was very prevalent then, but not so much now. So there's been some updating.
yeah, yeah. And you mentioned Rocky Horror before. Rocky Horror, and there's at least I counted at least 4 references to the Wizard of Oz in there, which is
that is definitely a change. That is something that we've really injected into this particular version here in 2021 that wasn't there in 2019. In 2019, it was really an homage to Rocky Horror for sure, and this time around, it's definitely more of a hat tilt to the Wizard of Oz. Kind of the Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, and Rocky Horror all had a love child and sent it to a nudist camp for the summer.
Well, I like them all, so it sounds great. Nothing better than being in a scene with all of those all of those works of art. So,
Yes.
and like you said, the play it is set in like a gay male nudist camp, but the audience you definitely get from what I've seen, you definitely get like a wide variety of people there, and they all just fall in love with the humor, and you really love these characters, and even the so-called villains are just so lovable in their own way and very charismatic and all that. And
Yes.
yeah, and best of all, what I noticed was the cast seems to really be enjoying themselves as well too, and they really feed off. It's like a mutual thing. The audience and the cast, they both feed off each other, and it's great.
Yeah, and the cast is amazing. First of all, they love each other, and they are a real team, and they really do feed off the audience, and they are enjoying what they're doing. They love the show, they love the message, they love the freedom of the the nudity within the show, and what they're creating every night. So it's the cast is fabulous.
Yeah, because some of the shows were at 11 o'clock, and I was like, wow, we're rehearsing all day and then doing an 11 o'clock show, and you're working your ass off on stage for 90 minutes. But then after it was over, everybody stuck around and mingled with the audience and had a drink and was enjoying the music. And I'm like, wow, that was great.
Yeah.
So, what's the craziest thing? Like, you've seen a lot of shows through the years, a lot of nights and then some afternoon shows. What has been like the craziest thing that's happened on stage that you've seen so far? Like, for example, like, has there ever been like an audience member, like behaving badly, or something unexpected happened?
Oh,
Set, or...
oh yeah, not this time around. Not this time around. But last time For sure. We last time we had a few partnerships with some nudist groups. And so we had a couple of shows where the audience were able to watch it with sans clothes. You know, they would come clothed, but we would take the clothes and so it was a naked audience as well as naked on stage. Um, and we did get word from the stage that one of the actors told the assistant stage manager who got it back to house management that there was two gentlemen helping each other in the front row.
Whoa.
But it was in the front row. I was like, well, at least go halfway back. Like, why don't do that in the front row? So we had to like, it was in the front row. So we had to send house management to ask them to, stop that.
Wow. And was the show able to go on, or was that the happy ending?
After that, yes. After a brief pause, to make sure that they were going to behave, the show continued.
Wow. Well, that was a night to remember, I'm sure, for everybody. Yeah. I wasn't there that night, so if you're all wondering if it was me, no.
Yeah, it was in 2019. It wasn't even this time around.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I know that in the past, like the show has gotten like really great reviews, and I know that the New York Times picked it as one of the things that one of the things that for I think it was the article was like New York is waking up, and these are the things that you should see, something to that effect. So you got like a lot of like praise, and people were praising the just the fun aspect and the body positivity and that kind of thing. But I know that there was at least one critic, we won't name names or anything. I know that there was at least one person who was kind of cruel to the show for the first run and everything, and didn't really focus on the show, but was actually getting personal with some of the cast members and all that. What was that like for the cast and crew to be reading things like that and to have to and know that that existed? So.
I mean, it's never a fun experience. It's never good to read things like that. And like you said, it was getting personal. It wasn't even really talking about the show. And I believe, without naming names, I think the person that you're referring to didn't even stay for the second act, so they couldn't really talk intelligently about the show, nor could they actually give an unbiased review. Like, if you don't stay for the entire show, you kind of, in my opinion, forfeit your opportunity to review it. Not to mention, I also think that, like, reviewers, and I've talked to people who do review for a living, and it used to be different. Like, it used to be that theater reviews and theater critics, the intent was to direct the correct audience to each piece, not shut it down. Like, if it wasn't for you, the intent wasn't to shut it down, but the intent was to get the correct audience to each project or each piece. And now it's become something very different. So the fact that anybody has to like start to focus on things like that in a show whose message is literally against that, it's like, look beyond that. Don't just like look at the physical attributes, but look at the substance of it. Is a shame, because you're just missing the point. Like, it's just, you're not getting what the experience is supposed to be, and like you said, it's supposed to be, yes, it's got the body positivity message, but it's in this ridiculously silly and fun package to get that message across. And if you're anybody going there thinking they're going to be reviewing Midsummer Night's Dream, like, you're just not.
Do you have any favorite, like, I know it's hard to pick, but do you have any particularly favorite moments from the show, or any favorite musical numbers that you really you're particularly proud of? And
I don't want to give away the hook of this particular song, but there is a song at the end of Act 1 called "If You're Brave Enough." That is one of my favorites in the show. it kind of is like it's a really ridiculous mantra. And again, I don't want to give it away because it's a surprise laugh in the show. But it's like literally, it's such a great, it hits the exact right note of what this show should be, which is very heartfelt, but in a ridiculous way. Like the mantra is so ridiculous, but it's definitely very heartfelt.
Yeah. And the audience, like I said, was really getting into it. I mean, they were really, I think it was, correct me if I'm, the Ballad of the Righteous was one of them.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and Wee Wee, which the character Jock did and all that.
Yes.
And they, these really became like, and of course, the big finale, and, which is my particular favorite because it just really kind of like cumulatively captures all that joy from the entire musical and all that. But again, these are songs that you really walk away like singing to yourself and all that. And you're like, oh, they don't sell the soundtrack in the lobby? What's going on here?
Maybe soon from your mouth.
Oh, yes. Well, just in time for Christmas, I hope, for Christmas presents.
Quite the stocking stuffer.
Oh, yes, an appropriate metaphor there. So now, Asylum, the venue where the show is held, they have drinks, obviously, but if they serve, like, let's say we turn this into a full, let's say this was a full, dinner experience there. Not that I would ever hope that we're going to see Camp Morning with the dinner theater ever in the future, but what would you think would be the perfect food or the perfect snack that goes along so well with this musical there?
I mean, dare I go with the obvious and say cocktail weenies or pigs in a blanket?
Yes. pigs in sleeping bags and all that, right?
Yeah.
The show, like I said, it is geared towards it is a very naked musical, so a lot of the audience that goes to see it, they're going there because they know what they want to see. Have you gotten any feedback from, let's say, people that had no idea what they were going to see, or let's say because I did bring a couple of guests who like had not heard of the show, and there was definitely like a lot of women in the audience, and I'm sure there was at least one or two heterosexuals in the audience. There might have been a couple. Going strictly by statistics here,
Yeah.
So, have you gotten any feedback from the people that would, probably not be in the target audience, what they thought of the show and how they reacted?
Yes. So generally speaking, people like that, the comment that they say is, within 20 minutes, you forget that they're naked and you're just focusing on the story and the music and the jokes, and that's honestly the point. And I actually hear that from gay men as well. Like eventually you're like, oh yeah, I've stopped noticing that they're nude until they point it out every now and then. But other than that, I'm invested in the characters and invested in what the story that they're telling. We had a couple of actors from another project come, and they saw the show this past weekend, and a lot of them are straight and some straight guys. And that's what they said. They were like, I had a great time. Like, it's funny, it's fun, it's silly, and has a great message. And you forget that they're naked in 20 minutes. So if people would come, if they would get over the fact that, oh, it's naked and gay and come, they would have a good time. Except for one couple this past weekend, they bought their tickets and they must be headless. I don't know, because they left like in the middle of Act 1, not because they were naked, because they were gay. They thought it was 7 straight men all naked at a camp. And I was like, and it's our marketing is not ambiguous in any way. It is like a rainbow yellow, like a rainbow brick road. It is very, very clearly very gay and clearly very naked. But yeah, they thought it was going to be 7, straight dudes just hanging out naked. And so when they found out it was gay in the middle of Act 1, they departed. But outside of that couple who, like I said, might be headless and just didn't see any of the marketing, anybody who's come that's been straight has loved it, and it said it's relatable. Just always a character is relatable to everybody. So like, everybody, they've all had a good time.
Wow. Well, maybe they should go see a naked play that is that doesn't have any gay undertones to it, like Naked Boys Sing. No, like Party. No, like Take Me. No, never. Good luck finding one.
All those plays and musicals with 7 straight guys just hanging out naked.
All right, maybe my audience can help me. If anybody knows of this, tell me about that. Or I'm sure there's one out there.
Please let me know. I'd be interested in watching it. I'd be interested in seeing. I'd buy a ticket.
Yeah. Well, we have to support the community. So keep live theater alive. Yes. For those who have seen the show already, what would you tell them? Why should they come again?
I would say because it's live theater, so like every show is a little bit different, always. But also in the space that we're in, the way the seating is set up, it's a 3/4 thrust, so you get a very different experience depending on which area of the house you're sitting in. I went to Once in This Island when it was on Broadway like 3 times and sat in very different spots each time, and different moments affected me more significantly in each of those 3 spots. So and although we're at a more intimate version of that, it's still a 3/4 thrust, and so like you have different things that you will definitely catch or be in your face. That'll be a different experience.
Right. It's funny you say that because I definitely did notice that, like, depending on where you're sitting, you will get a different view. And of course, yes, the view is great, like, no matter where you sit. But there are some where, some of the actors are particularly, like, really, let's just say they're very, very close. You'll get to know the cast very well.
Close proximity. Yes.
Yeah, you absolutely will. Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. So now the show, like I said, has been extended to July 1st. Is this kind of like, could there possibly be, even more than that, or more shows added, or?
I mean, I hope so. It's in discussion. So I'm hoping that the success continues and it ends up being extended for, hopefully through the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that would be fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to tell our audience? Anything else you'd like to add or throw in there?
I think we covered so much. No, I think that's about it. We covered a lot of the fun of the show. It's silly. It's irreverent. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but still has a really great message about body positivity and inclusion, and so it's a good time. It's a very good time, and some great music. The music's really great. Our composers,
absolutely,
are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I don't think that all the people that were there for the first few weeks even realized how they were really becoming a part of opening New York up again. And really, I think that like we've all been like trapped for like a year, and we've all just kind of like exploded. People are like aching to laugh and sing along and be in a live theater environment. Because I was talking with somebody online as I was going in, and we both realized it was 15 months since we saw a live theater show and everything. So
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's great. So for all of you out there, the show is called Camp Morningwood, a very naked musical, and you can find more information and buy your tickets. And you better hurry up because they're going fast as we speak. You know, remember, somebody is buying 2 tickets or even more as you're watching this right now, so you better hurry. And you can go to www.campmorningwoodthemusical.com. I'll have all that information in the description. You can also follow Camp Morningwood on Facebook and Instagram, and stay posted to the up to the minute updates, what's going on there and all that, and see some amazing photos. You can see the joy, like from the audience, from the cast, everybody. So, and I want to thank our special guest today, Jay Falzone. Jay, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for joining me in bed. Yes. So, all right. Goodbye, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Take it easy.